Good afternoon, Gossip Talk Shows family. It's Nomsa here at Gossip Talk Shows. Find your own voice, lead from within. So, with me today, I'm with Carol Ann Cooper and Shireen Lovegrove. How are you guys?
Brilliant, thank you. And you?
Very well,
Good,
thanks.
good. Good. So today's topic is the power of gratitude, how struggles can lead to a fulfilling life. So this video explore the transformation power of gratitude and how life struggle can lead to more fulfilling life through relatable example of inspiring messages. So we are going to share with you the importance of finding growth and resilience in challenging times. So Carol Ann, you chose this topic. What was on your mind when you chose this topic?
Well, it was brought to my attention. It was Claudia that mentioned that it's Gratitude Week, which I wasn't aware of, and she suggested, speaking about something like that. And I actually looked through some previous notes that I've got from other talks that we've done, and we did one January 2021 about why it's good to go through stress and struggles and things like that. And I just thought, well, let's have a look at, do the two go together? Being grateful for your struggles, how does that sort of look? And we often associate gratitude with just sort of joy and abundance and sort of grateful for that. But actually, does the actual true power shine when we're feeling grateful in moments of struggle? I just thought, let's have a look at that. How does that work? And maybe that is a way to having a more fulfilling life.
Yeah.
So, Shireen, what did you think when you saw the
Oh, well,
title?
I love looking at gratitude, because that was one thing that I didn't do very much and very well when I was younger. So I really am focusing and looking at what is the unique bit that gratitude does for us, that allows us that it makes it a very, very powerful thing, right? We seem to know that when we do gratitude and have gratitude practices, we increase feelings of happiness, optimism, connection to others, all sorts of things that are all the good stuff. So I'm really curious, and what really got me interested was the why. Why does it do it? And most of you know that I have knowledge in neuroscience, and for me, I think when I really started to click was when I was doing a lot of self-help and looking at my own stuff and where am I not giving myself love. And I realized that gratitude is very much a going towards something. So it's that movement towards connection. It's a movement towards, which often allows the brain to feel that you're safe. So you said something about you were curious about adversity. Well, what do we do when things are adverse? We try and run away, right? We try and run away. We do the total opposite of what gratitude does, which is, hey, move towards, not away from. Move towards, know that you're safe. And so this is the bit that's been really interesting, because most of the time we like to have some convincers, some proof before we will do the practices, right? We know that people that look at MRIs, they are more likely to follow a certain kind of teaching if there's some evidence that's hard lined out there. Well, we're getting the evidence now. We're getting the evidence of what happens when we do certain things on brain resonances. We got evidence when we can see that we can take blood tests and see what hormone levels are being raised. So we are starting to get all that kind of good stuff that we knew a long time ago, but didn't follow through on it because we didn't have the convincers. So that's the bit that really excites me very, very much. Really about something that we had done for thousands of years and yet guess what? It's only now that we're getting this deeper insight that we're starting to truly appreciate what it's about. Namsa, what resonates for you when you go into gratitude? You need to Put yourself on.
Hey, I'm muted, am I? Sorry. So what resonates with me when I go into gratitude is like I acknowledge first. I have to acknowledge the life challenges, struggle, because Carol Ann put a struggle in the gratitude, um, and understand that life isn't always a smooth sailing. Um, and when I feel that, and then I have to look at my life, where I've been, and and just tell myself that I'm so grateful to be able to be here. Like my daughter turned 18 last Thursday, and there was this gratitude for me when I look at her and her sister, and I was like, I'm so grateful that I get to celebrate her 18th birthday, because some parents they don't get to see that. So for me, it was like I was so grateful because my father-in-law has not been able to see her turning 18. My dad has not been able to see her turning 18. But I'm just there's this big gratitude. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I see all the struggles in life, I'm like, you know what? It's just passing through. But I'm so grateful of my life.
And it's lovely that she reached 18.
Yeah.
That's a
Mm.
celebration, and it's lovely you've been able to witness it and experience it as well, and celebrate with her. So yeah, congratulations.
And guess what she says?
What does she
I
say?
want to be a baby. I don't want to be 18.
Oh, bless her. Isn't it amazing how we always want what we haven't got? It's like we're not satisfied with where we are right now. It's as if something doesn't fit with us, or doesn't feel right. There's something wrong. Interesting. Because I know as I was growing up, I always was wanting to be an adult. So I was always looking forward to being 18, 20, 20, or 21 when I was growing up was the sort of key of the door. When I got to 18, all of a sudden it was key of the door 18.
Bye-bye.
But it was, it seemed like years away. I was always looking forward to it. And it's what is going on in your present moment that has you not be happy in the moment. Be grateful for where you are and whatever is happening. Look at what is there. And if there are some things that are causing you to feel like you're struggling, or it feels like it's hard work, or there's unhappiness, there's stress, what can you look at inside of that? Remembering that whatever is showing up for you is not happening to you.
Yeah.
It's happening for you. So what sort of silver lining can you look for? What's the learning that's here? And what can you be grateful for? And some people might say, oh, be grateful for the pain and the misery. Really? It's not what we're talking about. It's maybe there's something to learn here.
Yeah.
There's a way of dealing with that pain that you've never known before, because all you've known is one particular way and it's not working. So it's asking those questions. Well, what can I now find that would work? What are other opportunities I've got here to explore? And it's just about getting curious, but being grateful for the opportunity that is showing up for you to learn and grow in that moment. And what you were saying, Shireen, about, was it you said something about people like to have proof before they follow?
Yeah.
And it reminded me, just what came to memory is something that was, I asked myself that, many, many, many years ago. I'd gone down to south of Devon, south of the country, or southwest. And I was on the walking along the coastal path on top of the cliff, and I had my map, and I could see where a cove was that I wanted to get to, and I could see that there was a path down to that cove, and I'd got to the side of the cove, and I was looking over, and I'm thinking, I can't see where's there a path over there? Because all I could see was trees and like the cliffside. And it wasn't until I saw two people emerge at the bottom onto the beach in the cove. I went, oh, there is a way down. And I went and just followed. But I thought, what stopped me trusting what I was seeing on the map? I had to see people emerge, proof, yes, there is a way, before I felt comfortable. I mean, I went that way, but I went more willingly, having seen them come out. So again, it is this, we seem to want to have proof and see other people emerging from looks like, something that's impossible. And rather than maybe trusting the guidance that you've been shown that there is a way, you just can't see it right now. And I think that's where it's have a gratitude for the guidance, maybe, rather than the struggle. That's what's coming to me right now as I'm talking. There's somewhere you can have gratitude for. A path has been shown you in some form. It might be on a map. It might be some guidance to take some action in your head. And you can't see it actually coming through the darkness or through the struggle or whatever looks impossible. Trusting and standing in gratitude for that guidance and following it. It might just take you through. Just might take you through. It's something that's just, I can feel myself, because it's really something that I'm sitting with right now. There's guidance, and a part of me is going, but yeah, I want some proof on this. I'm really aware of that now as we're having that conversation. So.
Yeah, it's a crazy one. First, I wanted to just say the trigger that got me was pain is inevitable, suffering is optional, right? And there's something about that that's resonating with this happiness thing. Suffering is optional. And so we can choose happiness.
It's optional, right?
If we choose happiness, then we are always going to have options that are more available to us than when they're not. So yeah, that's the thing that's interesting me on that front. And the other thing that also made me think was you were talking about that guidance, Caroline. Yeah, it's a really tricky one, isn't it? Because we have that intuitive guidance. We know what's going on, and yet we still doubt ourselves. We still doubt what's going on. And I think that's because we're very disconnected. We are disconnected from the wisdom that gives us deeper information. So you would, if, for example, you really could trust your map, right? And you decided, my map tells me the truth, there's a way, I'll trust the map. Then you have something there that would, maybe somebody else who doesn't trust the map would feel that dissonance and need some extra validation. So I think there's something about really looking at how do you find the map that you can trust, or the thing that you need to trust that gives you that true validation. I think if we do more connecting to ourselves, we're more likely to feel safe without having to have everything in great detail. I think we're more likely to go with the flow, more likely to say, oh, okay, I know there's something there, I'll find a way. So using that as the framework, rather than, and as you were saying, Carol, and the thing of what happens in the moment, which is when we trust ourselves, we're more likely to stop and say, okay, what do I need to learn here? What do I need to look at? What do I need to do this? This is happening for me, so there must be a way if it's happening for me, and so that then allows you to develop those neural pathways that allow you to start kind of letting your brain open up a little bit so that you can receive the unconscious information that you've been gathering that you weren't even aware of yet. And I think that's a lot of the time when you stop, and for any one of you right now, if you had to stop, just take a moment and then just kind of notice what you haven't noticed in that moment. So you might not have noticed the door, you might not have noticed something else in that experience. that stopping gives us the ability to be able to notice things that we didn't notice before. So yeah, that being aware of the map and saying, yes, there's this, you would start to look for clues that would just show themselves to you in a very different way. So I think that gratitude is the key. It opens the door to give you that possibility of finding the space where you can receive all the information in that moment. So for me, that's what was sort of really resonating in that sort of aspect of what you were talking about, and needing validation. Of course, we need validation, but we do need to be able to learn to trust ourselves, even when it doesn't look like it's being validated.
Yeah. Well, there's no evidence, proof that it's right. Yeah, it's going to work, or that there is a way. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I like Carol Ann, when you say if you feel struggling, look at what you can look for, and be grateful for the opportunity that are presented your way. And Shireen, as well, you mentioned that the suffering is optional. Find that map that tells you the truth. And I think it is really important to actually understand how the world works and how the universe works. I know, like, there are some people who do things for validation. They want people to validate everything they do. But for me, I've learned to understand that a man cannot tell me the things that I can do. It may look wonderful, but what I've learned that when I created my brand, I created it the first year. I was on my own doing what I wanted. But when I brought God into my branding and started asking God, what can I do for this? What can I do? Even though there was struggle in my life, I remember during lockdown, there was a struggle, and I didn't know what to do. And this guy popped up on, I was praying, this guy popped up on LinkedIn, and he offered to help me. And I was like, it was like, no, sir, I need to help with this. Are you willing to do this for me? And I was like, are you for real? And he was like, yeah, I'm being serious. So I did the work that he wanted me to do. And then he was like, here's your money. It was the money that I needed, but I was struggling at the time. And my hope, I knew that God will come in my way, but I didn't expect that God will come in different in that way. So I think it's really important when you're going through struggle to hold on to whatever your beliefs that may be, and have the gratitude, because if you hold on to that hope, and you do get the answers that you want. And like Shireen, when you say map, look out for your map, that tells you the truth. What tells you the truth? What has worked for you before, and that works. And sometimes the people may say this, may say that. Yeah, I've seen that so many times, even when my father-in-law was getting sick. There were times where he would get serious and everyone would say goodbye and you dying. And then I'll go into the room and I'll say, God, another day, please. And I'll be like taking the scriptures, read the anointing oil, and I'll give him the anointing oil, a little bit of anointing oil. And then it will be fine. And I'll be like, so God, you hear me? And everyone will be like, why did he survive? How did that happen? But then when I felt that actually I had prayed for his soul when he goes to rest in peace, to be peaceful, then I had to let him go. But at the time, I felt that his soul wasn't in the right place. So I wanted to make sure that I pray for his soul. And then I was like, okay, now you are ready to go. Now you can go. But to me, it was a struggle. But I had to find a map, like Shireen says, that can give me the truth. And that map is God, even with my business, even with my health, with my children. My children pretend not to laugh, but when they're struggling, they're like, Mom, can you do your thing? I'm like, which one? Prayer. Yeah,
So I'm hearing this. There's a gratitude for your tools that you have to get you
yeah,
through this, and the biggest one is prayer
yeah.
and God's
It's God.
support. Yeah, yeah. So it's standing in that gratitude, and I'm hearing that's what helps you through, and you're actually seeing the power of what you've done helped him to find peace, to then move on peacefully rather than in some torment, which is beautiful, you know.
What tools do you use, Carol Ann? I'm
Sorry,
curious. What
what?
years do you use in times of your struggles? Everyone has tools.
Tools. There are times when there's prayer. There's times where it's just sitting with what I'm present to and just asking for guidance. You know, what is it I'm meant to learn here? What is it I need to do that I haven't yet done, or what is it I'm resisting doing that you're guiding me to do? And you know, maybe there's an element of that. So it's it's asking that, but it's just, I think there are times when I could actually have more gratitude. I really feel this is highlighting for me that there is more that I could be grateful for, or actually sitting in gratitude rather than just saying thank you. I think it's about, because gratitude is more, it's a feeling, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not about something you do. It's that, just so sitting in gratitude and saying, okay, I'm grateful for this opportunity to grow. And it's very often, sometimes I will say that, you know, I recognize this is an opportunity for me to grow. I don't do it as much as I think it would probably benefit me better more. I'm just becoming aware of that. You know, it's now and again, it's very sort of ad hoc. So there's lots of things. I think one of the other things that I do have is a conversation quite regularly. It can be once a week, or sometimes it's a couple of weeks between. But there's a friend and we talk for a couple of hours, and we're just talking through things, but lifting that energy. But again, there is that focus on shifting the energy and looking at the lighter side. And very often gratitude comes in there. So I think I could, as I'm talking, there could be much more gratitude in my life for what is showing up. That at times I'm just feeling, oh God, I've had enough of this. Really, Lord, why? You know, and there's that sinking. Like, yeah. Okay, so sink to your knees. Maybe I need to sink to my knees in gratitude rather than in pain. And as you say, Shireen, suffering is a choice. You know, and so rather, yes, sink to my knees in gratitude and say, okay, I like that. I might explore that actually. Thank you for your question, Nomsa, because that really, it's helped me to see how much I don't do it, as opposed to, yes, I do it, but there's room for more. And hopefully our listeners and viewers can actually see the same for themselves, actually ask that question. What tools do you have to be able to sit in gratitude, or to find gratitude in those moments where you feel maybe God has abandoned you, or whoever you believe in, you know, isn't there? There's no support. You're on your own. Maybe just feel grateful for that feeling of being on your own, and then just explore it, you know. So just bring in gratitude, that feeling of gratitude. Yeah. So, Shireen, what about you?
Yeah, I think easy pathways to gratitude. I suppose there's two things I'm thinking about. One is perhaps to do a scale every day, how grateful you feel. So part of something that I do is RAPSI, which is looking for a radiant light. What it does is say, okay, on a scale of 0 to 10, how radiant do you feel right now? And if you're sort of like an 8, then it's where is that radiance not? So where is that sense of gratitude not? So you can use gratitude where, and where do I feel I don't have that gratitude in my body? And we all have this, all of us have the ability to create a mental map around our body. In fact, we all do it. We just may not always access it. And just look and kind of go, well, okay, where do I feel I'm not grateful? How does it feel? What's happening? Because I think that if you start to develop a way to be able to get to those spots and to give more gratefulness to them, right? I think that gives you another space with which to focus. So that you can say, well, okay, I'm only an 8 out of 10. Okay, I'll just be grateful I'm 8. Right? I'll just be grateful I'm an 8. There's 2 that I have to work with. I wonder where they are, right? And then you might be able to get a sense of what its shape, what its color, what it is, and be able to just go towards it and just say, okay, what's this about, right? What happens if I look inside you and see where you're coming from? What are you, how come you're here right now? And I think these are the things that we can do, because the moment we start to move towards things, that tells our body we're not in fear, but it also means we're showing a willingness to become open to receive. So I think it's so important to kind of see that gratitude is really the supreme place of being in reception of something. It's the perfect place to receive. So the more gratitude we give, the greater possibility we have to receive. And the reason is because we're expanding our vessel, which is our body energy, and we're creating space inside for gratefulness to come and fill in. So if you imagine when we breathe, what happens is we create a vacuum in our body, right? We create a vacuum in our lungs. And what happens is air just goes all the way in, right? So when we do that, when we open the space for gratefulness, we're literally creating space. We're expanding ourselves. We're creating a vacuum so that all the abundance can come in. So it's maybe a useful analogy to think. I didn't ever think of it like that. And now that I'm talking to you, all of a sudden I'm getting like a download saying, hey, think of it like this. This is another way to think about gratefulness that is directly relational to that abundance, the receiving of abundance, of whatever that is, of happiness, of wealth, of health, of whatever. It's about moreness, right? It's about fullness. It's about the moreness that comes with it. Yeah. So that wasn't what I was going to talk about. It just happened to come in. Yeah. I don't know why, but I think it's a very useful tool, all of us, to kind of get that embodied sense of how much gratefulness we feel. Because I do remember my little vessel was so tiny. I was so constricted that I couldn't see that actually this was the perfect way to expand it. And now I'm getting more illuminations around that because I'm doing real regular practices of gratefulness in most things that I do now. So just taking time to be conscious of it.
Yeah, I love that that sense, of expansion that and I got a sense of that as you were talking. And I know you said something about you didn't do it when you were younger, and it's like we don't. And I remember we're always looking for the problems and complaining. And I'm really aware of a lot of places I go to, all I'm hearing are people complaining. And it's like, why? And so I'm going, oh, it's beautiful sunshine. And someone was saying about the sunshine yesterday, how nice blue sky and it's dry. And I said, but yesterday was just as nice, although it was wet and it was windy. But I really enjoyed going to the Lido. And okay, the rain just started to hammer down and the wind was blowing. But I was able to just stop for a minute, put my hood up and look out across the water. And it was beautiful. bobbing on the water with the ducks and the geese, and they were just sitting there, and it was just such a beautiful sight. And I just loved it. And I thought, this is beautiful. It's, there's this huge wind and rain, and it's in that moment of just being able to enjoy and be grateful for what is there. It feels so yeah, I think how can we deal with people that constantly complain? Maybe there's an aspect of you that is still complaining, you're drawing them to you, or maybe it's an opportunity for you to bring gratitude into their life. Just a little question, a little comment, maybe just open up something, sow a seed.
Yeah, gratitude brings blessings. Me, I never used to be really grateful to God or my life or anything. When things go wrong with just a little bit, I just never used to worry. Then as that came to the UK, started worrying. When you start working and stuff, you start worrying and things are paying the bills. But then I realized that actually I don't have to worry about anything. I was like, the person that brings battles to me, he knows that I can handle those battles. All I need to do is I need to be really, really grateful. And when you bring that gratitude, like Carol Ann, you said, when things don't go, when you find yourself in a struggle, you stand still. You evaluate things, and then you ask yourself the lesson, what are you learning in that moment? And I think that is so powerful because we tend to like put the blame in the problems or start mourning. But when you stand still through that problems, you actually, the power of gratitude comes up. And Shireen as well, you said we should scale it every day, the gratitude. I think that is really, really important. I had a problem a few weeks ago where somebody, I don't know what my brother did. My brother, he's somebody who has helped me through tough times. Uh, when the whole world was against me, he was somebody that was always there for me. So, and then I asked him to do something, and then he went and did it his own. He didn't do it what I've asked him. I've sent money, he didn't do it. But then I said, God, the lesson that I'm learning right now is this man, he has been there for me. My life is being tested. Uh, I'm always going to be grateful. He's always going to be my number one. I'm not going to put him number two. He's always going to be my number one. And what I needed him to do, I needed to sort out things here in the UK. There were bills that I needed to pay. But because he didn't do so, I got stuck. But I didn't see it as a stuck. I just saw it as a gratitude. I saw it as, okay, this guy has been here, has been there for me through tough times. If it weren't for him, I would not be here today, but I'm here. So I said, instead of me getting upset or not seeing it as a problem, I'm going to use gratitude. I'm just going to be grateful. You're going to still be my number one. He's going to still be my number one. But when he comes back, he's not going to get out of anything. He's not going to get away with it. I'm going to have to discipline him. But to my surprise, what I needed to do after 1 week where I needed to pay the bills, I find people supporting me to say, okay, Nomsa, you can buy time. And then I needed the money, and then I got more money than I wanted. And I was like, so that's how this gratitude works. But if by any chance I would have gotten angry at him, I don't think I would have got to where I needed to be because I found my blessings were open like 2 times than I wanted him to, what I wanted him to do. So I learned that lesson, like Carol Ann, you're saying you have to ask yourself, what lesson are you learning? So for me, the lesson that I've learned is if somebody enters your life and they help you, there's a reason why they do that. whenever they make a mistake, don't pick on what they have done. Just put everything in God. Like what I said, God is all yours. Is all yours. You can deal with him. He's not stealing my glory. That happiness that he gave me before, I'm holding on to that happiness. I'm holding on to my blessings. But whatever he's done is all yours. And God listened. He was like, yeah. Cause like like in the Bible, there's what's that scripture, Shireen, where God paid the debt for this person. What is it called? And then that person went in once his debt was paid, God declared his debt, and then he went and charged somebody else. So I remembered that, and I was like, I ain't getting angry. So it worked. So gratitude, it does work.
Yeah. It does work. And people go, oh, yeah, yeah. But I think maybe another angle on this is that actually it helps to turn your struggles into a strength.
Yeah.
You get something out of it. So by being grateful for it, it helps to give you some strength to work through it. And it can lead to those deeper connections with yourself, with other people, and also maybe get a stronger sense of purpose where you're at. So there are things that at a deeper level that you can get out of being grateful, feeling gratitude for the situation that you find yourself in, because it helps you to dive that bit deeper and find some strength to keep you going, rather than just, again, is that sinking into it. And something I read today was gratitude isn't just a reaction to happiness. It's a pathway to finding fulfillment, no matter the circumstances. So think of gratitude. I love that. Gratitude is a pathway to fulfillment, no matter what your circumstances. So you could be having a great time. Be grateful. It's that pathway to following the fulfillment. You're having a bit of a not so great time. Gratitude for it helps you keep you moving, So I love that thought of it's a pathway to finding fulfillment. So if you can find gratitude, you'll find fulfillment, is what I'm hearing from that.
Yeah, it can be very hard to be grateful when you're struggling, right?
Yes.
And that was kind of triggered up for me as you said that. And it just took me back to me when I was little. People say, you must do that. And yeah. And I think what gets us out of that bind, out of that trigger at that moment in time is to just say, okay, I'm grateful just for the knowing that I'm ungrateful right now, right? I'm grateful for knowing and being observant of this. Because just by acknowledging it and appreciating it, you're halfway there. You're halfway there.
Because you're already standing in gratitude.
Yeah, because once you it's like, how do you get out of that thing that's holding you where you are, right? And I think it's so important to kind of always acknowledge that's where you are right now. Okay, it's not bad to feel ungrateful right this minute. You need to acknowledge it so that, oh, I'm not reacting anymore. I'm not reacting. Okay, that's what I'm doing. Okay. But bringing the awareness to it often lightens us up. Remember, I said it's a towards movement. Towards movement always makes us feel better. It cannot not do it because we release oxytocin, we start releasing all sorts of chemicals that start to try and bring us closer back to ourselves. So it takes us out of dissonance, it takes us out of that conflict, but we have to acknowledge. That's why acknowledgement is so, so very important when we're doing gratitude practices. Appreciation is very, very important as well. They're both very high. Practice, just in acknowledging, we're giving ourselves a blessing. We're just by actually doing that or acknowledging another human being, we're acknowledging that God lives inside them, that they're another soul, they're another essence. And when we acknowledge for ourselves, even, right, that's what you're bloody well doing right now. Okay, right, I acknowledge it. It kind of brings a sense of humor into it. It brings all sorts of things into it. That is really the true blessing. A lot of people, when they are beating themselves up, they don't acknowledge that that's what they're doing. They say, oh, hell, that's what I'm doing. Okay, because the stopping on that interrupting pattern often allows us to have enough of a glitch that we can get out of that glitch that's holding us very tightly bound. So yeah, I loved what you said there, Carol Ann, about gratitude, that pathway forward. So when we slip off the path, what do we need to do? There are a couple of things that we might need to really first notice. And we're off it, right? How do we get back on it? What are the little tools, the little things that give us that quick shift back? So that's where we become very conscious beings. We start to see ourselves as a creator rather than somebody that's living in our body and mindlessly floating around, right? So yeah, gratitude, that conscious awareness of bringing in that attention when we're not there. And how can we bring more of that? Well, yeah, of course, it's being more grateful in a different way. How can we do that? Well, look at things that you can appreciate in that moment. Just look, be curious. If you like flowers on a thing, you can look at that and go, oh, let me learn a new flower. Let me think about that flower and what it does and all sorts of things. I get really excited when I kind of find something new. And that just lights a little spark in us. I think that's our soul talking to us. It's saying, hey, there is hope. Just carry on doing what you're doing for a minute. Get a little bit longer and I'll give you some more. I'll give you some more. It just adds fuel to the fire. It allows it to ignite a little bit more. And then you sort of end up going, oh, that was quite nice. I think I could be grateful for that. And I think that's the key. That's the biggest key for me.
Yeah, pathway. I love that. I love that. And Shireen, as well, you said we are creators. I think like Carol Annie, you always, when we're here, when we talk about other topics, you always say life is about whatever we give meaning to life, it becomes that. So the gratitude is part of that. Just understand that some people they always say, "No, so you want me to give gratitude when I'm going through this, when I'm going through that." I'm like, yeah, gratitude works. For me, it worked all my life. I'm so grateful for my life. The gratitude, even when I survived a human blood sacrifice, it was gratitude that I used for me to be here today. So it does help. You create life, you give a meaning to that something when you're going through the struggle. And then you look, because we tend to forget the beauty of life that we've had. And once we are hit with struggle, we memorize the struggle. We forget the beautiful things that we have had in life. So for me, when I'm going through tough times, I'm like, I do what Kira and does, stand still and do nothing. If it means for the whole day, do nothing. Just sit on the sofa and do nothing. And I find that when I'm sitting and do nothing, and the Holy Spirit will be like, are you finished now doing nothing? Okay, let's crack on now. Here's the solution.
Yeah.
But if I try to force things, it doesn't work. When you try to force things, or some people, they go into blaming themselves. But this life, we go into struggle to learn something. We don't become who we become just like that. We don't.
No.
We have to go through something in order to find that strength, in order to learn the skills. Once we learn the skills and we look back, it's not a struggle anymore. It's like that's how life is. I don't know if anyone can put it in a different way. I don't know, but for me, that's how I see it.
Mm. And it can be that easy, and it, like, the struggles just sort of dissipate. And the lovely thing is there is a ripple effect with gratitude. you know, if you've got a grateful mindset, it inspires others, and it just creates that positive environment, which actually that ripples across everybody else, and it gets, it's sort of infectious. And even in tough times, if you can be the one that's sitting in gratitude, there is something that ripples out. And I remember in hospital last year, in the final ward that I found myself in, I was in there for about 4 or 5 weeks in that one, and I was always, there was a couple of ladies who ended up staying the same length of time. They came just after me, and they were still there just when I left. So we created quite a bond, but they were always quite negative with, and I would just say something positive or turn things around, and they say, "Oh, you're so positive," but the whole energy shifted in that section of the ward, you know, in our little bay, and I could feel it, and it was just being grateful for just in that moment for whatever was happening, even if it was the opportunity for me to go inside and work on something in me, to shift, the opportunity to be present to someone else's pain and just be somebody who could just hold that space for them. You know, I realized that, and I just found myself being grateful for being there, for all the opportunities, or the healing opportunity that had actually happened through that whole 12 weeks that I was there. And just so feeling that gratitude and being aware of it, and being grateful, shifted things. And I know, and I found those two ladies, their mindset shifted as well. It was lovely. It was really lovely. You could feel it. So do recognize that. And it can be hard work, because someone who's who's it? And I heard a beautiful phrase the other day about someone, oh, they're a mood hoover. A mood hoover. And it was like, yeah, I like that. That sounds good. And some people's moods can. So I just need to, hang on a second, plug myself in. So grateful for the opportunity, grateful for what my laptop is telling me by going a little bit darker, going, oh, we're out of juice. And I can just plug it in. But yes, some people are, there's all sorts of words for it, but as I say, I heard this phrase, mood hoover. Can we be grateful for that mood hoover in that moment? Wonder what that might shift. Say, oh, thank you. Feel really grateful for you. and maybe that can help, rather than trying to change them, you know, because it's a complaint. They have to change. Well, they are where they're at in that moment. You know, something's going on for them. So can you be grateful for sharing that with them, that space? I don't know. There may be something else you could find to be grateful for. It's just finding gratitude and sitting in gratitude in that moment. And for me, I'm grateful for that beautiful phrase. I chuckled. You know, thank you. There's another phrase to use. Rather than, you know, the other one I often hear is that energy vampire, you know, that mood hoover. Oh, that was beautiful. So, yeah, Shireen, what, you're muted, by the way, just so you remember. Yeah.
I've kind of just gone in for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Sneezing, I was laughing because sneezing, you know, this is like I was clearing out stuff.
Yes.
So I was thinking, being very grateful that I could just take a moment just to go in for a second or two and
Yeah.
do that. But I love the word using hoover there. That was a very interesting word to use, particularly with gratefulness. Yeah. So yeah, I think what I'm just sort of being more conscious and more aware of really is the idea that it's a living, it becomes a living thing. So I love that, you know, Namsa said it is a blessing. It brings blessings. It's always going to bring blessings. And it's a pity we don't think about that. We don't always think that it is always going to bring us blessings, right? We somehow we lose this disconnect between, well, if I just do this, blessings are going to be bestowed on me. And I think that that's something that for most of us, probably haven't even really, when we probably all had some Christian teachings, or at least other teachings where we do talk about blessings. We don't really realize the depth of why gratitude was needed. And I think now when we start to educate people, we really need to talk about the why. Why does gratitude work? Well, yes, it bestows blessings. This is what's promised to us. It is actually promised us when we open that heart. And why does it work? Well, it's because the Spirit works within us, right? We are part of that Spirit. So when we ignite the Spirit, we activate that. We activate from a quantum perspective, or the quantum principles perspective. We activate all around us. We activate the field around us. And that means that we are activating other people at the same time. And you were talking about gratitude having an effect on others. This is how it happens. We activate the field, and the divine intelligence, God, will automatically respond to that higher frequency. It'll go where there's enough of the energy to draw. So often when we kind of think about why do people, why are there bad things in the world? Well, there are a lot of bad things because a lot of people are thinking bad things, right? And they're so busy getting addicted to social media and not even thinking about what they're writing. They're just giving their opinions. But this is a problem because we're not thinking, how do we bestow blessings every time we write something, or we say something? And I think that this is something that's going to be really key in when we talk about gratitude. How do we think about gratitude? Gratitude's about bestowing blessings. So if we think about that, it's, we have mirror neurons. If we bestow blessings to others, we are going to get the blessings back. It's the law of nature. It's a law, the law of reciprocity. So really pay attention to that. And I think certainly if we're struggling, it can be a nice thing to think about. Hey, I want some blessings today. Oh, how do I get that? Oh, I can be a little more grateful. That's quite simple and easy, but we need to feel it, right? We need to feel that we are blessed, and we need to feel that we are grateful. So yeah, maybe if you find the words gratefulness being challenging, then think about, how can I bless? How can I bless today? How can I bless my friend? How can I bless my family? How can I bless them? Because that's a start if you're finding it a little bit difficult to say I'm thankful when it doesn't feel like it. Think about it in another way. Well, okay, let me just bestow blessings today. When I get in my Facebook, let me just bestow blessings to people, so that what I do is I share love and light and blessings rather than the other way around. And I truly believe that's how we're going to change the world. We cannot change the world if we don't change the frequencies at which we resonate. So, yeah.
It all begins with ourselves.
It does. And we may not see the big effect. This is the problem, is we don't have a big enough mind to see the big enough effect. But if you do research, if you are a person that's a researcher, you'll know that the smallest effect can have such a profound effect if they're grouped, if they're gathered together, right?
Yeah.
But because they have it together, they actually are much more sustaining.
Absolutely.
The wave is bigger and more forceful.
Yeah. Yeah. And over time, it accumulates, doesn't it? It is over time. So yeah, it's not always right now. So I'd just like to leave our listeners with something Albert Einstein said: is out of clutter find simplicity, from discord find harmony, in the middle of difficulty lies opportunity. So and something someone else said, It's life is like photography. You use the negatives to develop.
The positive.
The picture emerges out of that negative. I just thought, oh,
in full-blown color.
Yes. So you use the negatives to develop. You develop yourself full of life. However you want to think of it. So
what's a raw ingredient, isn't it? The negative is the raw ingredient that then becomes that outward manifestation. Yeah.
So
Actually, I like that one. I like that one. I'm going to think on that one.
Okay, the raw ingredient.
The raw ingredient.
Raw ingredients of gratitude. Awesome, I like it. For me, guys, I leave you with this. Remember, every setback is set up for a comeback. Let gratitude guide you through your journey to a richer and more fulfilling, meaningful life. Things might not make sense at that moment, but if you put gratitude at the front, it does make sense. Everything makes sense. The puzzles get to be put together. Have you said your word of encouragement, Shireen?
I think we've probably talked about it around. So yeah, but the words of encouragement is really be aware that gratitude, if you think about it, one, pay attention, how much gratitude do you feel in your body? So I'd say scale it every day, because we really want to work to fully radiating gratitude. So if you can scale it, have a check. If you feel it, oh, I'm only about a 7 or an 8, okay, be grateful for the 7. And then say, okay, where's the 3? Where's the 3%? How can I get that 3%? And maybe spend that day focusing on maybe doing something a little extra that will give you that increase in gratitude. So I think we need to have these kind of scales with which to measure up, so that we can wake up one morning and go, wow, I'm fully radiating gratitude. Wow, guess what blessings I'm going to be giving everybody. That's the thing. And oh, I'm so looking forward to those blessings that are coming my way.
Yeah, and you also have to mean it.
Exactly, you have to mean it, but you have to want it. Yeah. So, and the more you feel the gratitude in your heart, I think this is the key thing. You need to feel your heart is vibrating when you feel gratitude. Otherwise, it's not really fully vibrating as a light. So if you just kind of really think, oh, I'm truly grateful, just sit in that and try and expand that feeling out, so that it starts to resonate and push through the whole of your body. That's another exercise that's actually quite nice to do. Just really spend 2 or 3 minutes just, oh, okay, let me just think, why, how come I'm grateful for this? What does it give me? Where does it take me? How will that help out in the world? Can be very powerful.
Yeah, wonderful. So guys, if you're watching from YouTube, please subscribe to our channel. The website is www.coach. Please do go and sign up on the website. And if you're watching from Facebook, we have 2 groups, Unique Billionaire Mindset and Ngozi Talk Shows. And do join those groups and like our pages. We've got 2 pages, Hope Spring Eternal Introduction Agency page and Ngozi Talk Shows. And please do, guys. God bless and live with grace.